Good day, everyone. We are here before you to discuss our topic about Introduction to the Study of Globalization by Manfred Steger. But before we start our report, we just want all of you to know that this is for educational use only, and our group is allowing our instructor, Mr. Roldan Ardines, to use this as educational material. Objectives. So, our group will discuss about the study of globalization by Manfred Steger, to discuss the ideologies of globalization, to state the sentiments of Michael Friedan, to state the contribution of Aljur Aparuday, and to discuss the different scapes of globalization. Introduction. Globalization refers to the rapid changes in economic, political, cultural, ideological, and environmental aspects that are rapidly altering our world experience. This very short introduction has been updated for the third edition, addressing recent developments in global politics, the global economy, and environmental issues. Manfred B. Steger examines globalization's causes and effects, whether it is a new phenomenon and whether it is a positive or negative change. So, the term globalization describes the quick changes in the world's economic, political, cultural, ideological, and environmental facets. And this introduction has been revised to reflect changes in international politics, the global economy, and environmental concerns. So, Manfred Stager, he investigates if globalization is a recent phenomena and whether it is good or bad change by looking at its sources and effects. Ideologies of globalization: market globalism, justice globalism, and religious globalism. These three types of globalisms investigate the ideologies underlying globalization, which endow it with values and meanings. So, Manfred Stager, he divided the globalisms into three, and those globalisms represent a set of political ideas and beliefs coherent and conceptually thick enough to warrant the status of mature ideologies.
The first one of the ideology is the market globalism or marketing globalism. It advocates a promise, a consumerist, neoliberal, free market world. This ideology is held by many powerful individuals who claim it transmits democracy and benefits everyone. However, it also reinforces inequality and can be politically motivated. So, marketing globalism is the promotion and selling of goods and services in an integrated global company. Market globalization is about liberalization and global integration of markets. It is inevitable and irreversible. In market globalization, nobody's in charge of globalization. It benefits everyone and furthers the spread of democracy in the world. Example of this marketing globalism is when a company that produces sodas may have a single marketing campaign for a new drink, but it can keep the content applicable to all kinds of people and give the consumers the ability to translate the campaign into their native language. So the next ideology that we will talk about is the justice globalism. It envisages a global civil society with fair relationships and environmental safeguards. They disagree with market globalists who view neoliberalism as the only way. It articulates that the process of globalization thus far has been powered by corporate interests to the detriment of the vast majority of the global population. This type of globalization suggests that the process can take different pathways. It also argues, that the democracy carried by global neoliberal processes tends to be thin, procedural and representative, and rather than participatory and all-encompassing. It also claims that the globalization from above or corporate globalization is responsible for the multiple global crises such as the financial, energy, climate, food, and also increasing global equality and extreme poverty that we are facing. An example of justice globalism would be the actions or formations of the World Social Forum. Lastly, the religious globalism. What is the religious globalism? So, religious globalism strive for a global religious community with superiority over the secular structures. Another way in which the globalization has impacted on religion is the way religions have made use of global communications. Religious groups are able to take advantages of modern technology to recruit new members, spread the word, and keep in contact with other members of the religion. While with some of the more fundamentalist, anti-modern, anti-global religious organizations, this can hold a certain irony. It is one of the ways in which the religion is much less linked to nationality than it once was.
So good day everyone. I'm here before you today to discuss the Michael Frieden sentiments. So Michael Frieden sentiments, political ideologies display unique features anchored in distinct conceptual morphologies or structures. Frieden proposes three useful criteria for determining the degree of maturity that was sets a full-blown ideology apart from a fledgling additional cluster. First is its degree of uniqueness and complexity. Second is its context-bound responsiveness to a broad range of political issues. Third is its ability to produce effective claims in the form of conceptual change of the contestation. So, taking issue with Michael Frieden's skeptical assessment that it is too far early to pronounce on globalism status as an ideology. This article seeks to establish that globalism not only represents a set of political ideas and belief coherent enough to warrant the status of a new ideology, but also constitutes the dominant ideology of our time against which all of its challengers must define themselves. After drawing careful analytic distinction between often conflated terms involving the concept of globalization, the main section of this article relies on three criteria suggested by Frieden to assess the ideological maturity of globalism. It is proposed that its conceptual structure be disaggregated not merely into core, adjacent, and peripheral concepts, but perhaps more dynamically into a set of six core claims that play crucial semantic and political roles. With the regards of semantics, this article argues that these claims absorb and rearrange bits and pieces of several established ideologies and integrate them with new concepts into hybrid meaning structure of genuine novelty. Their political role consists chiefly in preserving and enhancing asymmetrical power structure that benefit particular social groups. The article ends with a short experiment thought exercise designed to bring the insight gained from my critical analysis of globalism to bear on necessary project of reclassifying conventional political belief system. So next is Arjun Aparuday is a renowned anthropologist and cultural theorist who has made significant contribution to the field of globalization studies. His work has focused on understanding the complexities and globalization, cultural flows, and the ways in which people navigate the changing dynamics of our interconnected world. Some of his notable contribution. So, Aphrodite is a world-renowned expert on the cultural dynamics of globalization. Having authored numerous books and scholarly articles, the nature of significance of his contributions throughout his academic career have earned him the reputation as a leading figure in his field.
Apuraday argued that globalization is not a monolithic force, but a complex, multifaceted process that can be understood through various escapes. These escapes are distinct dimensions or channels through which globalization operates and affects societies, cultures, and individuals. Understanding these escapes of globalization provides a more comprehensive and nuanced view of how globalization operates and its varied impacts on societies. So each scape interacts with the others, creating complex and dynamic networks that shape the contemporary global landscape. This framework allows for a more holistic analysis of the challenges and opportunities posed by globalization and underscores the need for multidisciplinary approaches to studying its effects on cultures, economies, and societies. So, the next slide, the concept of hybridity of cultural flows is a term used to describe the dynamic and complex process of mixing and blending different cultural elements that occurs as a result of increased global interactions. This phenomenon underscores how globalization enables the movement of cultural practices, ideas, and symbols across borders, ultimately leading to the creation of new and multifaceted cultural formations. So, this is a concept that captures the intricate and evolving nature of culture in a globalized world. It emphasizes how cultural elements from different backgrounds intersect, mix, and create new cultural expressions and identities. This phenomenon reflects the complex and interconnected nature of contemporary societies, where cultural diversity and hybridity are defining features. So, the next slide. He emphasizes a profound perspective on how commodities are embedded in social, cultural, and economic systems. It emphasizes that commodities are not isolated economic entities but are deeply intertwined with human societies and their cultural practices. This work has been influential in anthropology and cultural studies, providing valuable insights into the complexities, global exchange, and the role of object in shaping human experiences and identities.
Globalization and identity. Apodorai's work has contributed to discussions on identity in a globalized world. He has explored how individuals construct their identities by drawing from cultural sources and how globalization challenges traditional notions of identity tied to fixed geographical or cultural boundaries. So, in other words, Apodarai's work is a big help to identify our globalized world. And he also know, through drawing, individuals can construct their identities in order to get the idea on how to fix geographical or cultural boundaries. Migration and diaspora. Apodarai has engaged with the themes of migrations and diaspora, particularly in relation to how people's movements reshape communities and identities. His work has helped illuminate the experience of migrants and the transnational networks they establish. So, Apodarai engaged with the themes of migrations and diaspora in order to know on how the movements of people reshape communities and identities. Apodarai's work was a big help in order to illuminate the experience of migrants and also the transnational networks they establish. Urban studies. He has written about the impacts of globalization on urban environments, emphasizing how cities serve as key sites for the convergence of different global influences, culture, and economic processes. So, Apodarai wrote about the impacts of globalization on urban environments, like towns, suburbs, and the city itself, in order to emphasize on how cities serve as the key sites to the convergence of different global influences, cultural and also the economic processes.
So, Arjun Appadurai introduced the idea that globalization is not a monolithic process. So, if you're not familiar with the word monolithic, so monolithic is a big whole idea which is composed of many ideas composed to one. But Arjun Appadurai apparently mentioned that this globalization is not a monolithic process. So it means that it is a complex interplay of various dimensions of scapes or scapes. So there are five main scapes which shape the societies and culture. So these scapes includes ethnoscapes, technoscapes, financescapes, mediascapes, and lastly the ideascapes. So Arjun Appadurai mentioned the ethnoscapes. So ethnoscapes is the first one that he mentioned. So ethnoscapes, so this refers to the movement of people across borders. So as we might know, some of our parents or relatives are working overseas. So they are one of the examples of in the discussion of ethnoscapes. So the second one will be ethnoscapes, highlight the changing nature of identities in globalized world. So, for example, some of our girls or women here in the Philippines try to show less skin of their own, but in the America or any parts of the world, they are more liberated than us. So the third one is the movement of people contributes to the diversity of societies and the demanding of cultural practice. So one of the example of this is like the pagmamano-mano, not here in the Philippines, because they do not do that in the other parts of the country like the US. Thank you.
Technoscape. Technoscape involve the flow of technology, information, and communication across the globe. These scapes highlight the impact of technological advancement of global connectivity, enabling instant communication, collaboration, and the sharing of ideas. Financescapes. Financescapes involves the global movement of capital, investment, and financial system. This illustrates how economic process and financial institution transcends national borders, impacting economic and societies on a global scale. Financial globalization has implications of economic stability, inequality, and the interdependence of economies. Mediascapes. Mediascapes related to the definition of media image, narrative, and cultural products worldwide. Proliferation of digital media platforms has accelerated the dissemination of information and entertainment transcending geographical boundaries.
Good day, everyone. I'm here to discuss the ageiscapes of a paradise concept. So, ageiscapes encompass the spread of ideologies, political ideas, and religious beliefs and cultural values across the world. This scape highlights how ideas and belief systems are transmitted through various channels, influencing political movements, social norms, and cultural practices. Ideological globalization can lead to both convergence and conflict between different belief systems. So the notions of democracy, human rights, welfare, and so on, ageiscapes are heavily influenced by local culture, semantics, translations, historical events, and political contexts. For example, ageiscapes refers to the ideas, symbols, and narratives that have spread around the globe. For example, the rapid spread of democracy in 18th and 19th centuries. So a paradise concept offers a framework for understanding multidimensional nature of globalization beyond just economic integration. These scapes interact with and influence one another, contributing to the complexity of globalization, effects on societies, cultures, economics, and individual lives. By recognizing and analyzing scapes, scholars and observers can gain more nuanced understanding of how globalization impacts various aspects of human experience and how these scapes intersect and shape global dynamics. So that's all, sir. Thank you.